Hello everyone, my name's Sue Hopkins and I'm a member of St Justice Church. I'd like to share a few things with me, what's happened in my journey of becoming a Christian and my faith. I lost my mum on the 3rd of January last year, and when I was at the undertaker's sorting the funeral out, they asked me who I would like to take the service. I immediately thought of St Justice Church. Although I'd had no connection with them, I used to hear them when I was in the gardens and they had their windows open doing the singing on a Sunday, and it sounded such a friendly church that I felt as though that's what I wanted for Mum. I had a phone call from Adam, the church curate, and he said he wanted to come round to sort out Mum's funeral. I was so nervous because I didn't know him and I'd never even had to sort a funeral out before. But I needn't have worried because as soon as I met Adam, he made me feel so at ease and comforting. He came in and we sat there and we sorted Mum's funeral out. After we'd done all of that, he said to me, "Why don't you come up on Tuesday? They have a community cafe up at the church called Cafe Plus. I'm sure you'd like it." I was a bit unsure. I didn't know whether it was for me, whether I wanted to go. But Adam said, "Give it a go. If you don't like it, you don't have to come again." Well, I took the plunge and I went, and it's one of the best things I ever did. When I got up there, everybody was so welcoming and I really enjoyed it. I couldn't wait for the next week to come. When we were coming out of there one day, I said to one of my friends, "Is it possible to go in and have a look at the church?" She said yes. So she opened the door and I walked in, and I can't describe the feeling I felt. It was just like this warm glow, and I just felt as though I'd come home and that was where I belonged. Well, weeks went by and it was getting more and more intense and the glow was getting more and more warm, and I didn't quite know what to do about it. We were doing pen pal letters to the children at the Dell School, and Helen had my mobile number and she also had my landline number on her mobile. And she sent me a message to my landline, which I couldn't access and I couldn't get rid of. And every half hour it kept coming up again. Got in touch with Adam and I said to him I didn't know what to do. He said, "Don't worry, I'll sort it out with Helen. If she takes your landline number off of her mobile phone, that'll sort it." Then it all went very quiet. And Adam said to me, "Was there anything else, Sue?" And I said, "Yes, Adam." And I just blurted it out that I felt as I wanted to be a Christian, and I told him what had happened and how I felt. And he said he'd come down and see me. Well, he came down to see me, but we had to stand on the doorstep because by then the self-distancing was coming in. And he explained to me about being a Christian, and when I was ready to let him know, and it was just a prayer away. And I looked at him and I said, "Adam, I feel as I'm ready now, I really do." So there and then on the doorstep, we said the prayer, and that was where I became a Christian, and I've never looked back since. Also, I'd like to tell you a bit about a story that happened to me a few weeks ago. When we had that very snowy cold weather, I had to get the gas man in because my boiler froze. When he came, it was one we'd had before, and he knew Mum and always used to get on very well with her, because he came in and said, "Oh, where is she and what have you done with her?" And I had to explain to him that she'd passed away, and he was really sad because he got on so well with her. He looked across and there was a picture of my mum and dad, and next to it I've got 2 robins and a glass cross which my 2 great nieces bought me for Christmas. He looked at the cross and he said to me, "Can I ask you, are you a Christian?" And I said, "Yes, I am." He said to me that he'd had the feeling that he wanted to reconnect with the church again, but unfortunately with all the churches being shut there was no way that he could do it. I explained to him that a lot of churches do online services, St Justice does, and if he'd like to have a look at one of our online services I could show him. I showed him our online service and he was absolutely over the moon about it and very impressed with it. And he said when he got home he was going to research to see if there were any churches near him that were doing online services where he lived in Deal. He then went on to fix the boiler and he came back down again, and again he asked me about being a Christian. And I told him that I'd got a copy of my story if he'd like to read it. He read my story and he was quite moved by it. And he thanked me for all my help and went on his way. The following Saturday, I was upstairs in the house and I heard my porch door open and close. I wondered what it was and I looked out the window and I saw a gas van going up the road that he was in. And I couldn't understand why he hadn't knocked. So I came down, opened the porch, and there on the floor was a bunch of flowers and a card thanking me so much for all my help and telling me that he'd managed to get onto an online service at Deal and he was really happy about it. We've been doing a course at the church on a Wednesday evening called Fruitfulness on the Front Line. And I feel as though that was what I was doing. I was helping somebody on the front line. And I can honestly say it gave me such a lovely feeling inside. So I would urge any of you that come into the same sort of situation to grab the bull by the horns and go for it, because it doesn't only help the person that needs your help on the front line, it gives you such a lovely feeling to know that you've helped them. I hope you can find these stories helpful, and all I can say is I'm so happy that I've got God in my life, and I don't know what I'd do without him now. Blessings to you all, Sue.